What's going on, guys? It's your boy Shade here. Welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to give you my full-on thoughts about the MWII beta and whether or not it's even worth your time or money to purchase the full game / pre-order the game if you haven't already. Before we get started, I just have one request, please. If you guys could hit that sub button if you haven't already, it would truly mean a lot to me. But let's get right into it. Now I'm going to go over the cons first, but I do want to mention that Modern Warfare 2 at its core for the beta honestly isn't that bad. There was just no counter to campers. So I'm going to go over a little list of things that I think should personally be changed, but it's fine if it's not. It's just little things anyways. Starting with overall movement, it's a little on the slow side. Something about the crouch speed. Every time you crouch, it's like there's a delay before it starts crouching, and it's very slow. Honestly, if it doesn't change, it's all right. Now, a lot of people were complaining about the sprint to fire speed, but we can chalk this up as hopefully not having the attachments for it yet. Sliding has literally no use at all. Like, I dolphin dived 20 times more than I ever slid in that game, and that's just because when you slide, you don't gain as much distance, you don't slide that fast, there's no point, and you can't shoot while you're sliding, you can't cancel the slide, so 9 times out of 10 when you are sliding and you get caught doing it, you're gonna die. The UI everywheres is just complete and utter trash, okay? The UI is horrible everywheres. The only place that the UI wasn't that bad in was in the Gunsmith, but when you're going through the menus, when you're going through your friends list, when you're in-game editing your loadouts, editing your perks even was just kind of confusing at times. Leaving a party from your friends list was really hard to figure out at times, especially on controller. They just really need to fix the UI in the game, and I know they're gonna try, but I don't have high hopes for how it's gonna look in the final release because they only have a month to fix it. Now, this is just a personal opinion, but the spectating helmet cam, as cool as it is and as cool of a concept it was, I kind of wish there was a toggle button to where I can have regular cam. I want to be able to see what the player is doing, not what the side of the helmet is doing. It's just something about it just doesn't feel right, and I hope they have a slider for that option in the options in the future. This is a final thing. This is just for PCs only, but optimizing PC would be nice. I was getting 150 frames, no problem, but I heard a lot of my friends with even better rigs than me getting way low, like 120 FPS. Optimized PC, I guess. Now let's move on to my list of bigger things that I think should be fixed, like visibility. Visibility sometimes when you're looking into a hallway on hotel was pure ass. Like the whole hallway would be just pitch black and you couldn't see anyone. I don't know if it's just a visual bug or what, but like sometimes you just cannot see players in hallways or doorways because it's just pitch black behind the doorway. Now, this is a personal opinion. However, I think majority of the entire Call of Duty fan base agrees we need enemy nameplates back. They addressed the enemy nameplates saying that they were gonna try to find a fix around it when for some reason they just won't add it in. I don't know why. Sometimes it's really hard to tell if that's a person sitting in a corner or a person sitting on a head glitch when there's no name above their head. Now, if we want to compromise, I'm perfectly fine with doing a red dot instead of having like the name itself above his head, but like, why? What's the point of having no nameplate? Speaking of red dots on the mini-map. I would personally like that back into the game because I don't like it when somebody is camping in a corner and you can't pinpoint their location because they don't move and you do, and you die to them over and over again and you just can't figure out where they are. Specifically for search, because you die for the whole round. You can't come back and kill the guy again. Let's get back onto the topic of visibility though. Firing your weapon. I don't know what settings they have on or whatever, but for some reason every time I shot my gun, the visibility out of the reticle or just the iron sight was awful. It was all over it was like I couldn't figure out where my target was, and half the time I'd lose them while I'm tracking them because I'm shooting and my gun just covers up the entire screen. I can't figure out where they are. This could also be an attachment issue, but we don't know because they wouldn't add attachments into the beta to let us test it. Also, there's too much muzzle flash, like gun smoke and stuff when you're shooting your gun, because sometimes when you're shooting, your gun smoke will cover up the enemy that you're shooting at, or the enemy will be shooting a gun and their gun smoke will cover them up and you can't find them. Now, this isn't a problem for controllers because controllers will just kind of aim for them a little bit and you can kind of feel it out, but for mouse and keyboard, you can't track a guy you can't see, and that's a serious issue. So I hope they tone down the gun smoke a little bit. Also, stuns and flashes. After you see a flash pop all the way over like in a hallway or something, that flash smoke or the stun smoke will kind of just block off the hallway like it's an actual smoke grenade. Literally can't see them down the hallway. There's a flash grenade that went off in this little aisle or alley here, and you can't even see the guy. Now let's talk about the biggest issues in my opinion as a search and destroy player, because that's all I ever play is search and destroy. First of all, footsteps were already nerfed and they are still extremely loud. You cannot do anything without somebody hearing you do it, and that is a problem. You heard them and they moved. That's their fault. Dead silence. It's not actually dead silence. See, when you pop dead silence, first of all, it makes a super loud and annoying noise. So anybody that's around that isn't on your team will hear the sound and know where you are, or at least where you're coming from. Second, when you are actively using dead silence, you as a player aren't dead silent. They can still hear you move with dead silence popped, and that is not how dead silence is supposed to work, especially when it's a field upgrade. If this was a perk, it would make more sense because you always have dead silence regardless, but you have it as a field upgrade, and you have to earn the field upgrade, unlike the perk. I'm not super against dead silence being a field upgrade, I just need it to be dead silent, please. Modern Warfare 2, make it dead silent, please. Speaking of other things for search and destroy, since a lot of the times I'm actually playing solo, Ghost is an ultimate perk and it takes forever to charge, and your team is just feeding and feeding UAVs, you are at an immediate disadvantage because you have to wait until your ultimate perk Ghost pops before you can even be hidden off the radar, and that's a problem. They should move that down to bonus perk, or at least a single perk that you could put on normally. Now let's talk actual maps here. Farm 18, A-bomb is the only bomb anyone's ever gonna go to. B-bomb is in defense spawn, and it's so hard to push. On the other side, if you go to A-bomb, you could just rush plant that while defense is spread out across the map trying to defend bomb or mid or flank or whatever. So what they should do is move B-bomb inside that area with the tires and just make it that part, so offense has more of a chance to get inside B-bomb instead of forcing A-bomb every round. A-bomb needs to be opened up a little more, or cleared out at least a little bit more. Now this is a personal opinion on hotel, but hotel defense should spawn a little bit closer, because it's the same problem on A-bomb where all they have to do is rush it and they can rush plant just a little bit closer in, or at least move the bomb more closer to defense side. I have another gripe with the Gunsmith, because as much as I do love it, there's recoil smoothness, there's recoil control, there's recoil gun kick, recoil firing accuracy, hip fire recoil accuracy. There's too many, and that is confusing as shit for the average human being, let alone a top 1% like myself. So if they could dumb down the Gunsmith just a teeny bit for a lot of the average players, even some above average players, that'd be nice, so we don't have to confuse everybody with class setups like, this is the best recoil smoothness gun kick accuracy. It's really confusing, man. But those are pretty much everything that I have that I would personally like changed. The game isn't that bad, and a lot of the casual players actually enjoy this game. I think the reason being is because visually it looks nice. There's no counter for campers. They finally have an FOV slider on console, so all those players can finally get that advantage, which is what they needed for a long time. It runs smooth. The game runs flawlessly. Even at a lower FPS, it ran fine for me, and I ran at a normal FPS. The game audio, like the sound effects and stuff, every gun and every movement, every sound, all the ambiance of the map just sounds gorgeous, and I'm so proud of the audio technician team or whoever that designed all those sounds, because everything sounds beautiful in this game except for the footsteps. Lower that shit down. I love the Gunsmith. I love the ultimate customizability that you have in the Gunsmith. There is just so much to go through, and I can't wait to see all the creative classes that come out of it. Hopefully they dumb down how much recoil options there are, but there are plenty of awesome and cool ideas that can come out of Gunsmith, and I'm excited to see it. I personally see a lot of fun and a lot of content as a casual or a content creator that'll come out of this game, and I think it'll be a good 2 years if they keep going with the updates and keep making the game even better. The weapons have character to them, like they feel like their own separate weapon, and I love that about this game. Even the variants of the same weapon feel like different weapons, and I love that. My final opinions though, I think the game is going to be fun. Do I think you should pre-order a $100 worth Vault Edition? No, I don't. At least at the beta's current position, I personally don't. Now, do I personally think that you should pre-order this game? That's up to you, really. Honestly, it's 70 bucks or 100 bucks. It's totally up to you. Do I think you should get the game later on? I do, only because you have multiplayer, you have the campaign, you have Spec Ops, you have DMZ, and then Warzone 2, which is going to be free to play in November. Final thoughts though, I think the game's going to be awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.